Nestled at the edge of a quiet village, surrounded by fields that stretched into the horizon, lived a young girl named Lila. Her house was small and cozy, its wooden walls wrapped in ivy and wildflowers. The roof had a crooked charm, as if the wind had whispered secrets to it for years, and the windows glowed with warm golden light every evening. Lila had a favourite spot, a small hill just beyond her backyard, where the world seemed to open up to the endless expanse of sky. Every evening, after dinner, she would climb the hill with her telescope in hand. It was an old, brass telescope, a gift from her grandmother, who had once been a stargazer herself. Lila loved to polish its surface until it gleamed, imagining it held the stories of the stars her grandmother had gazed upon years before. The sky above her village was unlike any other. It was deep and vast, painted in shades of indigo and violet as the sun dipped below the horizon. As darkness crept in, stars would begin to twinkle, first just a few, then thousands, until the heavens were a sparkling tapestry. Lila liked to think of the stars as old friends, each one with a name and a story only they could tell. On this particular evening, the air was crisp, and a gentle breeze carried the scent of wildflowers from the meadow below. Lila tugged her woolen cardigan closer around her shoulders as she reached the top of the hill. She set down her telescope and unrolled her star map, a piece of parchment so worn and creased that it seemed alive with its own history. "Hello, my friends," Lila whispered to the stars, her voice barely louder than the rustle of the grass. "What stories do you have for me tonight?" She adjusted her telescope and began to look, her eyes scanning constellations she had come to know by heart. Orion, the hunter, stood proud and strong, while Cassiopeia's chair tilted gently as if inviting her to sit and listen. She found the North Star shining brightly, its steady glow always guiding her gaze. Lila traced these patterns on her map, her fingers moving with a gentle rhythm that felt like part of a song. But tonight was different. As she gazed at the stars, a strange sound reached her ears. It wasn't the soft hum of the wind or the chirping of crickets in the field below. No, this was something entirely new, a faint whisper like the rustling of pages in a storybook. Lila froze, her pencil hovering above the map. "Who's there?" she asked softly, her heart beating just a little faster. The whisper came again, this time clearer. It wasn't a voice exactly, but it seemed to come from the sky itself. Words formed in her mind, gentle and melodic, as if the stars were speaking to her directly. "Lila," the whisper said, "come closer." Her eyes widened as she looked up at the sky, scanning the constellations. She felt a strange pull, as though the stars themselves were reaching out to her. Without knowing why, she turned to follow the whispers. They seemed to guide her gaze to a cluster of stars she had never noticed before, small and faint, twinkling shyly at the edge of her vision. Lila adjusted her telescope to focus on the new stars. As she peered through the lens, a vision began to take shape. A meadow bathed in starlight, shimmering with a glow that was neither moonlight nor sunlight. The meadow felt both familiar and mysterious, as if it had been waiting for her all along. "Find us," the whispers urged, their tone gentle, but insistent. "We have stories to share." Lila's hands trembled as she packed her telescope and map into her bag. She had never been afraid of the dark, but tonight the night felt alive in a way she had never experienced before. The stars weren't just shining, they were calling to her. Before she knew it, Lila was climbing down the hill, following the whispers that seemed to dance on the wind. The meadow from her vision felt impossibly close, its light shimmering just beyond the horizon. And though she couldn't quite explain it, Lila knew she had to find it. She had to hear the stories the stars had been keeping for so long. With each step, the whispers grew louder, filling the air with a melody of wonder and anticipation. Lila's journey was just beginning. The meadow shimmered with an unearthly glow as Lila took cautious steps forward. The whispers swirled around her like a gentle breeze, weaving fragments of words and tones that seemed to resonate deep within her chest. Though they still spoke in a language she couldn't entirely understand. Their intention was clear. The stars were entrusting her with a purpose. As she gazed at the luminous pool beneath the ancient tree, her thoughts raced. What did it mean to connect the stars and reveal their stories? The idea was thrilling, yet daunting. Lila was only 12 after all, and while she loved stargazing, this task felt larger than anything she'd ever imagined. The voice returned, soft but steady, cutting through her uncertainty. "Lila," it said again, "the constellations hold truths that have been forgotten. Each one has a story, a lesson that the world needs. But these tales are fading. They need to be remembered, and you are the one to help us." Lila's grip tightened on her star map, her mind swirling with questions. "But why me? I'm just a kid. How can I possibly do this?" The stars in the pool twinkled, their glow pulsating rhythmically as if responding to her doubt. "Because you listen," the voice replied, echoing its earlier words. "Not everyone hears our whispers, but you do. You've spent your nights watching us, learning our patterns, finding wonder in our light. That makes you the perfect keeper of our stories." Lila swallowed hard, her heart pounding. It was true. She had always felt a special connection to the stars, a bond she couldn't quite explain. But now, faced with the enormity of the task, she felt a flicker of fear. "What if I mess up?" she whispered, her voice barely audible. The stars seemed to brighten as though smiling at her. "Mistakes are part of every journey, Lila. But with each step, you will grow stronger, and the stars will guide you. Trust in yourself as we trust in you." The words filled her with a fragile sense of courage, and she nodded slowly. "Okay," she said, her voice steadier now. "What do I need to do?" The voice shifted, becoming almost musical. "To uncover the stories, you must connect the stars. Look to the sky and find the constellations. Each one will guide you to a place where its story began. There you will learn its tale and bring it back to life." Lila frowned slightly, her curiosity piqued. "A place? You mean on Earth?" "Yes," the voice replied. "Each constellation is tied to a moment, a place in a story. By finding these places, you will awaken the tales hidden within them. But be warned, Lila, not all stars shine alone. Some are bound by struggles, shadows, and forgotten memories. You must be brave, for the path will not always be easy." The words sent a shiver down her spine, but they also ignited a spark of determination within her. If the stars believed in her, maybe she could believe in herself too. She straightened her shoulders, clutching her telescope and star map, like tools of a budding adventurer. "So, where do I start?" she asked, her voice laced with resolve. The pool of light shifted, and an image began to form within its glowing depths. Lila leaned closer, her breath catching as she saw a constellation emerge. Orion, the mighty hunter. His stars sparkled vividly, their light almost tangible. "Orion's story is first," the voice said. "Follow his belt, 3 stars aligned, and they will lead you to where his tale began. But Be watchful, Lila. Orion's journey was not without hardship. To uncover his truth, you must face both light and shadow. Before she could ask what that meant, the image in the pool dissolved, replaced by a faint beam of light stretching out toward the horizon. Lila turned to follow its path, her eyes landing on a dense forest at the edge of the meadow. The trees loomed tall and dark, their branches intertwining like skeletal hands. Her heart skipped a beat. The forest had always seemed mysterious, almost forbidding, and she'd never dared venture inside. But now, with the stars urging her forward, she felt a pull she couldn't ignore. Clutching her star map tightly, Lila stepped toward the forest. The whispers followed her, weaving around her like a protective cloak, their tones both soothing and encouraging. As she approached the tree line, the cool air thickened, carrying the earthy scent of moss and pine. The moonlight barely penetrated the dense canopy above, but the faint beam of starlight guided her like a celestial compass. The forest was alive with sounds, crickets chirping, leaves rustling, and the occasional hoot of an owl. Despite her initial apprehension, Lila felt a strange sense of calm. It was as if the stars themselves were walking beside her, their presence a reassuring glow in the darkness. As she moved deeper into the woods, she noticed something unusual. The trees seemed to hum faintly, their trunks glowing with a soft golden light. She reached out to touch one, and a warm sensation spread through her fingertips. "The stars are with you," the voice whispered, its tone like a gentle breeze. "They light your path and guard your journey." Encouraged by the words, Lila pressed on, following the beam of light that danced ahead of her. The forest floor was uneven, and roots jutted out like sleeping serpents. But she navigated them with care, her eyes fixed on the starlit path. After what felt like hours, she emerged into a small clearing. In its centre stood a stone pedestal, weathered and moss-covered, as if it had been there for centuries. Carved into its surface was the shape of Orion's constellation, his stars etched with intricate detail. Lila approached the pedestal cautiously, her fingers grazing the cool stone. As she touched it, the whispers grew louder, swelling into a harmonious chorus. The stars above seemed to pulse in rhythm, their light cascading down like a celestial waterfall. "The first step," the voice said, "is to align the stars. Use your map, Lila, and connect Orion's belt. Only then will his story unfold." Lila unfurled her star map, her hands trembling slightly. The constellation of Orion was marked clearly, his 3 belt stars forming a straight line. She glanced between the map and the pedestal, noticing 3 small indentations that corresponded perfectly to the belt's alignment. Taking a deep breath, she placed her fingers over the indentations and pressed down gently. The forest seemed to hold its breath, the whispers falling silent as the pedestal began to glow. Lines of light spread outward, connecting the stars etched into the stone. Slowly, the image of Orion came to life, his figure illuminated in shimmering gold. Then, the clearing transformed. The trees faded into the background, replaced by a star-filled sky that stretched endlessly in every direction. Lila found herself standing on a celestial plain, the stars surrounding her like tiny lanterns. Orion appeared before her, his form composed entirely of starlight. He held a bow in one hand and a quiver of arrows on his back, his gaze steady and wise. "Welcome, Lila," he said, his voice deep and resonant. "You have taken the first step in uncovering the stories of the stars. My tale begins here, but it is up to you to uncover its meaning." The celestial plain sparkled with an otherworldly brilliance, every star gleaming like a tiny sun. Lila stood in awe as Orion, the mighty hunter, gestured for her to come closer. His starlit figure radiated a calm yet commanding presence, his luminous bow resting at his side. "You have shown courage, Lila," Orion said, his voice resonating like distant thunder. "But the journey ahead will test your heart and your resolve. Are you prepared to walk the path that the stars have laid before you?" Lila swallowed her nervousness, clutching her star map tightly. "I'll do my best," she said, her voice trembling slightly but filled with determination. Orion nodded, his starlight eyes flickering with approval. "Good. To connect the stars and reveal their stories, you must uncover not just their light, but also their shadows. Each constellation holds a tale of triumph and struggle, and the lessons they carry are as much about darkness as they are about light." He raised his hand, and the stars around them began to shift, forming an intricate map of the sky. Constellations danced into view, their patterns tracing the heavens like threads in a celestial tapestry. "Follow the path of the stars," Orion continued. "Begin with the next constellation. Lyra, the harp. Her melody carries the story of longing and hope, but be warned, her tale is hidden in a place where silence and sound intertwine. Only by listening with your heart can you uncover her truth." As Orion's words faded, the celestial plane dissolved, and Lila found herself back in the forest clearing. The stone pedestal still glowed faintly, its light guiding her toward a trail that led deeper into the woods. The whispers returned, their tones melodic and soothing, as if echoing the harp's unseen strings. Lila adjusted her backpack, her confidence growing with each step. The path twisted and turned, the forest shifting around her like a living maze. Shafts of moonlight pierced the canopy above, illuminating patches of mossy ground and casting ethereal shadows. The air was cool and crisp, carrying the faint scent of pine and damp earth. As she walked, she began to notice subtle changes in the forest. The usual rustling of leaves and chirping of crickets faded, replaced by an eerie stillness. The only sound was the soft crunch of her footsteps and the occasional whisper of wind through the trees. It was as if the forest itself was holding its breath, waiting. Then, faintly at first, but growing steadily louder, Lila heard a sound. A delicate, haunting melody that seemed to float on the breeze. It was unlike anything she'd ever heard, a combination of notes so pure and resonant that it sent shivers down her spine. She followed the music, her heart pounding with a mix of wonder and anticipation. The trail opened into a secluded glade, bathed in silvery moonlight. At its center stood a magnificent harp, its strings shimmering like threads of starlight. The instrument seemed to hum with life, its melody weaving through the air like a living being. Lila approached the harp cautiously, her eyes wide with awe. The whispers grew louder, their tones blending with the harp's melody to create a symphony that filled the glade. She reached out a trembling hand and gently plucked one of the strings. The note that rang out was pure and sweet, resonating deep within her chest. "Lila," a voice called softly, and she turned to see a figure emerging from the shadows. It was a woman, her form composed entirely of light. She was radiant, her hair flowing like liquid silver, and her eyes sparkled with the same brilliance as the stars. "I am Lyra," the woman said, her voice melodic and soothing. "You have found my harp, the keeper of my story. But to uncover its truth, you must listen, not just with your ears, but with your heart." Lila nodded, stepping closer to the harp. "What do I need to do?" Lyra gestured toward the instrument, her luminous hand moving gracefully. Each string represents a part of my tale. Pluck the strings in the correct order, and the melody will reveal my story. But beware, for the strings are sensitive to doubt and fear. You must play with confidence and trust in yourself." Lila took a deep breath, studying the harp's strings. They seemed to shimmer with a life of their own, each one glowing faintly. She glanced at her star map, hoping for guidance, but the page remained blank. "Trust yourself," Lyra repeated, her voice echoing softly. "The answer lies within you." Closing her eyes, Lila focused on the whispers and the melody surrounding her. She let the sounds guide her hands, plucking the strings one by one. The notes that followed were harmonious, each one blending seamlessly into the next. As she played, images began to form in her mind, visions of a faraway land bathed in golden light, a lonely figure strumming a harp beneath a starlit sky, and a melody that brought peace to all who heard it. When the final note rang out, the harp glowed brightly, and the glade was filled with a radiant light. Lyra smiled, her form becoming more solid as if the story had given her strength. "You have done well, Lila," Lyra said, her voice filled with gratitude. "You have awakened my story and restored my melody. Long ago, I played this harp to bring hope to those in despair. My music was a bridge between worlds, connecting hearts and souls. But over time, the melody was forgotten, and my light faded. Thanks to you, it lives again." Lila felt a swell of pride and joy, her earlier doubts fading into the background. "What happens now?" she asked. Lyra pointed to the sky where a new constellation had appeared, its stars twinkling brightly. "Your journey continues," she said. "The next constellation awaits, its story calling out to be uncovered. Follow the path and trust in the whispers. They will guide you." As Lyra's form began to fade, she reached out and touched Lila's shoulder. "Remember, Lila," she said softly, "the stars chose you for a reason. Your heart is your greatest strength. Never doubt its power." With those final words, Lyra disappeared, leaving Lila alone in the glade. The harp remained, its strings glowing faintly as a reminder of the story she had uncovered. Lila took a moment to collect herself, her gaze fixed on the new constellation in the sky. The stars seemed to pulse with energy, their light forming a path that stretched beyond the glade. She adjusted her backpack, her resolve stronger than ever. "I won't let you down," she whispered, her voice filled with determination. "I'll uncover all your stories." As she stepped back onto the trail, the whispers returned, their tones brighter and more harmonious. The stars above seemed to dance in encouragement, their light guiding her toward the next chapter of her journey. The path led Lila to the base of a towering mountain. Its peak disappeared into a veil of swirling silver mist, and the stars above shimmered as if urging her onward. The whispers were louder here, their tones weaving together into a symphony of guidance and anticipation. Lila tightened her grip on her star map, now glowing faintly, as if infused with the starlight she had gathered along her journey. Her heart beat faster with every step as she ascended the rocky trail, the air growing colder and the whispers growing more insistent. The stars seemed to form a staircase of light, beckoning her higher and higher toward the unknown. At last, she reached the summit, where a massive stone arch stood, carved with intricate symbols that glowed with the same soft radiance as the stars. Beyond the arch was a celestial platform, suspended in the air and surrounded by the vast expanse of the night sky. At its center hovered a constellation unlike any Lila had seen before. an intricate swirling pattern of stars that pulse with a golden light. As she stepped through the arch, the whispers ceased, replaced by a deep, resonant silence. The stillness was almost overwhelming, as if the universe itself was holding its breath. Lila approached the glowing constellation, her footsteps echoing faintly on the stone platform. The constellation began to shift and transform, its stars rearranging themselves into the shape of a figure, a majestic celestial being with flowing robes of starlight and eyes that shimmered like galaxies. The being's voice resonated through the air, deep and melodic, filling the space with an undeniable sense of wonder and awe. "Welcome, Lila," the being said, its voice both gentle and powerful. "I am Astria, the keeper of the stars' stories. You have come far, guided by the whispers and the light of the constellations. But your greatest challenge lies ahead." Lila swallowed hard, her heart pounding in her chest. "What must I do?" she asked, her voice trembling but resolute. Astria extended a glowing hand, and a small orb of light appeared, hovering between them. Within the orb, Lila could see countless images swirling, fragments of the stories she had uncovered, along with others she had yet to discover. "This," Astria explained, "is the heart of the stars' wisdom. It contains their stories, their lessons, and their light, but it is fragile, vulnerable to the shadows that linger in the void. To protect it, you must face the darkness that seeks to consume it." Before Lila could respond, the air around her grew heavy, and the platform dimmed. From the edges of the celestial plane, a shadowy mist began to seep in, swirling ominously and taking shape. The shadows coalesced into towering figures with hollow eyes and jagged claw-like hands. They radiated an icy coldness, their presence suffocating and oppressive. Lila's hands trembled as fear gripped her. The whispers had warned her of shadows, but she hadn't expected them to be so overwhelming. The shadows advanced, their dark forms reaching toward the glowing orb. "Do not let fear control you," Astria said, her voice calm and steady. "The light within you is stronger than the shadows. Trust in your journey, in the strength you have gained." Lila took a deep breath, forcing herself to stand tall. She thought of all she had learned, the melody of Lyra's harp, the courage of Orion, the wisdom of the stars. She reached deep within herself, searching for the inner light they had spoken of. Slowly, she felt a warmth begin to grow in her chest, spreading outward like a sunrise. The shadows lunged toward the orb, but Lila raised her hands, and a burst of light erupted from her palms, pushing them back. The warmth within her grew stronger, fueled by her determination and belief in the stars' guidance. She stepped forward, her light shining brighter with every step. The shadows hissed and recoiled, their forms dissipating in the face of Lila's light, but they didn't retreat completely. Instead, they circled her, probing for weakness, their whispers now twisted and menacing. "You cannot succeed," they hissed. "You are small, insignificant. The stars will fade and the light will die." Lila clenched her fists, her resolve unwavering. "I am not insignificant," she said, her voice steady and clear. "The stars chose me for a reason. Their light lives within me, and I will protect it." She closed her eyes, focusing all her energy on the warmth within her. She envisioned the constellations she had connected, their stories woven together into a tapestry of hope and resilience. As she opened her eyes, the light within her exploded outward, enveloping the platform in a radiant glow. The shadows shrieked and writhed, their forms dissolving into nothingness. The darkness lifted, replaced by the gentle glow of the stars. Astria smiled, her celestial form glowing brighter than ever. "You have done well, Lila," she said, her voice filled with pride. "You have proven that light and hope are stronger than fear and doubt. The stars' wisdom is safe thanks to you." The orb of light hovered toward Lila, its glow soft and inviting. Astria gestured for her to take it, and Lila reached out, her hands trembling slightly. As her fingers closed around the orb, a surge of warmth and energy filled her, and she felt a deep connection to the stars and their stories. "The stars have chosen you as their guardian," Astria said. "Carry their light with you and share their stories with the world. Through you, their wisdom will endure." Lila nodded, tears streaming down her face. She felt a profound sense of purpose, as if she had found her place in the universe. The platform began to shimmer and fade, and Lila felt herself being gently lowered back to the forest clearing. The whispers returned, their tones bright and harmonious, as if singing a song of celebration. Lila looked up at the sky, where the constellations shone more brilliantly than ever. She clutched the orb to her chest, its light merging with her own. As she stood in the clearing, a shooting star streaked across the sky, leaving a trail of silver light. Lila smiled, her heart full of gratitude and wonder. "I won't let you down," she whispered to the stars. "Your stories will live on." With the light of the stars guiding her, Lila began the journey home, ready to share the tales she had uncovered and inspire others to look up at the night sky with wonder and curiosity. The forest clearing was quiet, bathed in the silvery glow of moonlight. The gentle rustling of leaves and the soft hum of the whispers returned, weaving a melody of peace that wrapped around Lila like a warm blanket. She stood still, gazing up at the sky where the constellations shimmered, their stories now a part of her forever. The orb of light in her hands pulsed gently, its glow soothing and steady. It felt like a heartbeat, a reminder of the life and wisdom contained within the stars. Lila's journey had been long and filled with challenges, but now as she stood under the vast expanse of the night sky, a deep sense of calm washed over her. She sat down on the soft, mossy ground, leaning against the old oak tree that had been her starting point. Its roots cradled her like the arms of an old friend, and its branches swayed gently above, as if whispering their own secrets to the stars. Lila rested the glowing orb on her lap and let out a contented sigh. The whispers became softer, their tones like a lullaby, and Lila found herself thinking back on her journey. She remembered Orion's steadfast guidance, Lyra's haunting melody, and Astria's wise and reassuring presence. Each constellation had taught her something important, not just about the stars, but about herself. She realized that the courage, hope, and light she needed had always been within her. It had just taken a journey among the stars to uncover it. As her eyelids grew heavier, Lila thought of the people back in her village. She imagined sharing the stories she had learned, watching their faces light up with wonder as they gazed at the constellations. The thought filled her with a quiet joy, and she made a silent promise to the stars that she would honor their trust. The orb on her lap began to glow more brightly, casting a soft golden light across the clearing. The whispers grew faint, fading into a gentle hum that matched the rhythm of Lila's breathing. The stars above seemed to twinkle in time, their light forming a comforting canopy over the forest. "Thank you," Lila whispered, her voice barely audible. She wasn't sure if she was speaking to the stars, the whispers, or herself, but the words felt right. A gentle breeze swept through the clearing, carrying the faint scent of jasmine and pine. It felt like the stars themselves were responding, their light flickering as if nodding in acknowledgement. Lila leaned back against the tree, her body sinking into the mossy ground. The warmth of the orb seeped into her hands, spreading through her like the embrace of a dear friend. Her muscles relaxed, and the tension of her journey melted away, leaving her feeling weightless and free. She closed her eyes, letting her mind drift. The images of her journey played softly in her thoughts, like scenes from a dream. She saw Lyra's harp glowing in the moonlight, the swirling shadows on the celestial platform, and the constellation of Orion standing tall and proud. The memories felt distant, yet vivid, like stories told by an old storyteller around a campfire. As Lila's breathing slowed, the whispers returned one last time, their tones softer than ever. They spoke not in words, but in feelings, peace, safety, and belonging. The stars above pulsed gently, their light dimming slightly as if tucking themselves in for the night. Lila felt herself sinking deeper into the warmth of the earth. The world around her blurred, and the lines between the clearing and the sky faded, leaving her surrounded by a sea of soft, shimmering light. It was as if the stars had descended to wrap her in their glow, cradling her in their timeless embrace. The forest seemed to join in the transition to rest. The trees stood still, their leaves rustling faintly in the breeze. The cricket's song slowed, and the distant call of an owl became a soft echo. Even the moss beneath Lila seemed to breathe gently, as if settling down for its own slumber. The whispers faded completely, leaving only the gentle hum of the stars. Lila's thoughts grew quieter, her mind floating on the edge of dreams. She felt safe, protected by the light within her, and the stories she now carried. Her final conscious thought was a sense of gratitude for the journey, for the stars, and for the endless wonder of the universe. The orb in her lap dimmed, its glow merging with the light of the stars above. Lila's breathing was slow and steady, her chest rising and falling in rhythm with the universe itself. She had found her place among the stars, and now she drifted into a deep and peaceful sleep, her dreams filled with starlight and whispers. The forest clearing was quiet, bathed in the silvery glow of moonlight. The gentle rustling of leaves and the soft hum of the whispers returned, weaving a melody of peace that wrapped around Lila like a warm blanket. She stood still, gazing up at the sky where the constellations shimmered, their stories now a part of her forever. The orb of light in her hands pulsed gently, its glow soothing and steady. It felt like a heartbeat, a reminder of the life and wisdom contained within the stars. Lila's journey had been long and filled with challenges, but now as she stood under the vast expanse of the night sky, a deep sense of calm washed over her. She sat down on the soft mossy ground, leaning against the old oak tree that had been her starting point. Its roots cradled her like the arms of an old friend, and its branches swayed gently above, as if whispering their own secrets to the stars. Lila rested the glowing orb on her lap and let out a contented sigh. The whispers became softer, their tones like a lullaby, and Lila found herself thinking back on her journey. She remembered Orion's steadfast guidance, Lyra's haunting melody, and Astria's wise and reassuring presence. Each constellation had taught her something important, not just about the stars, but about herself. She realized that the courage, hope, and light she needed had always been within her. It had just taken a journey among the stars to uncover it. As her eyelids grew heavier, Lila thought of the people back in her village. She imagined sharing the stories she had learned, watching their faces light up with wonder as they gazed at the constellations. The thought filled her with a quiet joy, and she made a silent promise to the stars that she would honor their trust. The orb on her lap began to glow more brightly, casting a soft golden light across the clearing. The whispers grew faint, fading into a gentle hum that matched the rhythm of Lila's breathing. The stars above seemed to twinkle in time, their light forming a comforting canopy over the forest. "Thank you," Lila whispered, her voice barely audible. She wasn't sure if she was speaking to the stars, the whispers, or herself, but the words felt right. A gentle breeze swept through the clearing, carrying the faint scent of jasmine and pine. It felt like the stars themselves were responding, their light flickering as if nodding in acknowledgement. Lila leaned back against the tree, her body sinking into the mossy ground. The warmth of the orb seeped into her hands, spreading through her like the embrace of a dear friend. Her muscles relaxed, and the tension of her journey melted away, leaving her feeling weightless and free. She closed her eyes, letting her mind drift. The images of her journey played softly in her thoughts, like scenes from a dream. She saw Lyra's harp glowing in the moonlight, the swirling shadows on the celestial platform, and the constellation of Orion standing tall and proud. The memories felt distant, yet vivid, like stories told by an old storyteller around a campfire. As Lila's breathing slowed, the whispers returned one last time, their tones softer than ever. They spoke not in words but in feelings, peace, safety, and belonging. The stars above pulsed gently, their light dimming slightly as if tucking themselves in for the night. Lila felt herself sinking deeper into the warmth of the earth. The world around her blurred, and the lines between the clearing and the sky faded, leaving her surrounded by a sea of soft, shimmering light. It was as if the stars had descended to wrap her in their glow, cradling her in their timeless embrace. The forest seemed to join in the transition to rest. The trees stood still, their leaves rustling faintly in the breeze. The cricket's song slowed, and the distant call of an owl became a soft echo. Even the moss beneath Lila seemed to breathe gently, as if settling down for its own slumber. The whispers faded completely, leaving only the gentle hum of the stars. Lila's thoughts grew quieter, her mind floating on the edge of dreams. She felt safe, protected by the light within her, and the stories she now carried. Her final conscious thought was a sense of gratitude for the journey, for the stars, and for the endless wonder of the universe. The orb in her lap dimmed, its glow merging with the light of the stars above. Lila's breathing was slow and steady, her chest rising and falling in rhythm with the universe itself. She had found her place among the stars, and now she drifted into a deep and peaceful sleep, her dreams filled with starlight and whispers. Now, let yourself follow Lila's journey into rest. Feel the warmth of the stars surrounding you, their gentle light cradling you like a soft blanket. Imagine the whispers guiding you, their tones soothing and harmonious. Your body feels heavy, sinking into your bed, while your mind feels light, floating among the stars. Close your eyes and take a deep breath in and out. Let the rhythm of your breathing match the steady hum of the universe. Inhale the peace of the starlit night and exhale any tension or worry from your day. Picture yourself lying under a sky filled with constellations. Each star twinkles just for you, telling you that you are safe, loved, and cherished. Imagine the whispers turning into a gentle melody, lulling you deeper into relaxation. As you drift off, feel the weight of the day melting away. The stars are your guardians, their light a beacon of hope and calm. Let their stories carry you into a dream world where anything is possible and everything is peaceful. You are weightless, floating on a sea of starlight. Your mind is calm, your heart is light, and your body is at ease. Breathe deeply and let yourself drift into the world of dreams. Good night, little stargazer. Sleep well under the watchful eyes of the whispering stars.